Much for joining me in this live broadcast. Today, the 2nd of September 2022. Today, Friday, which is the last working day for the week. Of course, tomorrow is Shabbat, and then we have Sunday and all of that. Welcome to this program, to this live broadcast. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, as always, and this is Biafra Global Network, and I want to appreciate you for joining me live on this broadcast. So many factors, so many issues, so many instances and circumstances going on around us. But I know that obviously they have to happen the way they happen, so that we'll be able to understand what is going on. Today we are looking critically on something very, very important. We want to, when we talk about people who actually, of course, most of us sometimes when we see, most of the posts from these Nigerianists, these election mongers and the saboteurs online, we just read and we just shake our heads and we move on. Some of us get so reactional or so emotional that we want to respond sometimes to them. It's good sometimes to respond anyways, but you know that to know the way somebody reasons is by how they act or by what they say. And so verily we know that um, based on the facts on ground, by what the Nigerianists, the the election mongers and then the saboteurs say, we're able to understand their thinking faculty and their thinking level and the level of their IQ and EQ and all of that. And so that's the basis of this broadcast today. And please, before we go on this, I want you to please click the subscribe button and share this video far and wide so that other people may be able to access the information and at the same time be able to understand, because our focus in restoring Biafra and working towards the actualization of Biafra is to make sure that we educate as many as we can along the line of our movement, along the line of this great work that Chukwu Abiyama has given to us to work on. And of course, Biafra is our target, and Biafra is going to be here as soon as possible. Everything is on ground, everything is going on smoothly, going on as planned, so that we can have our freedom. The most important thing to us now, come rain, come shine, is our freedom, because you know what wise people do. I think this is the first test I'm going to be giving to those who are Nigerianists or election mongers or saboteurs. The most important thing about life is the ability to reason, and that is what makes you different from an animal. Mazin Abdekan has always said that, and I want to reiterate: the most important strength and power you have as a human being is the ability to reason. When you lose this power to reason, you are just like any animal that it can be killed or that can be eaten or that could just exist and leave the earth. If you don't know how to utilize your thinking, your reasoning faculty, and then it simply means that you are just a bag of dust, a bag of clay molded in human form, and having the ability to open the mouth, laugh, and move and all of that, but signifying nothing on earth, signifying nothing to life, signifying nothing to real existence or real living. You're just existing and to pass and go away without making any significant impact. The only impact is that you just occupied space. That space you occupy on earth is very, very important and very, very important to God. And that's why He allowed you to occupy that space. But when you refuse to reason, you have made it that space given to you on earth has become worthless and useless, and becomes a critical situation. But without you, the world goes on and things happen, and people would also definitely get the message and also do their lives better. So if you choose the path of ignorance, the path of not being reasonable, it's your personal decision, and you will only face the consequences of it, and because your humanity has been wasted. I want to welcome every one of you and joining me right now in this broadcast. please, as I said, please share this video on all your social media platforms so that people can listen and also know what is happening. Um, recently I've just been looking at, of course, we saw some of you saw 2 days ago, that's on Thursday, Mazi Simon Ekpa came and he advised the leader of, the wife of our leader to tread with caution when she goes to, the meeting or the broadcast, the invitation for the interview that she's called to attend or to be a guest. He actually cautioned her and advised her on what to do, which of course his advice was full of wisdom and full of concern for both Biafra and our leader, and of course even for the health of the family and for the health of the healthy nature of the family of our leader. So he actually gave that very, very critical advice, very, very important. But you see, when you when you find people who are hell bent on bringing other people down, all they keep doing is very, 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 very heartbreaking and stupid. You can imagine that a broadcast that is out there in the open that anybody could access, which Mazi Simon actually advised our leader's wife, which everybody, every Biafran can have access to it. Every Biafran has access to it. You can imagine a group of people coming out to say that Mazi Simon Ekpa was threatening our leader's wife, and telling her that he's going to kill her if she comes for the broadcast. I mean, if she comes for the interview. You can imagine how foolish people who refuse to reason. The moment you let yourself to become beclouded or overwhelmed by jealousy, envy, hatred, bitterness, and it's like, you discover that every act becomes evident of your stupidity, your foolishness, and your carelessness. You see, when you look at the expression, the words, the actions of these saboteurs. Now I'm looking at the saboteurs. I will soon go to the one Nigerianists. Although the saboteurs, some of them are also one Nigerianists, but I'm going to be addressing them differently here. When you look at the actions of these saboteurs, from the time our leader was kidnapped to now, you would actually prove that these people are very, very connected to what has happened to our leader. Because as soon as our leader was kidnapped and extraordinarily renditioned to the zoo by the Nigerian government through the help of some of these saboteurs, we now discover some critical things. The critical things is that you begin to see the desperation in their action, the desperation in their words, the desperation in their acts and everything they do. Now, let's take it back to when our leader was kidnapped. If you discover, of course, every one of us are witnesses to this. They clamped down on Mazi Simon Ekpa so much that you begin to wonder if there's anything else that they are dragging. They clamped down so much on him that it became so worrisome, worrying to us. Some of us begin to wonder what is really going on. Is there anything that is is there anything else we need to know about this whole matter? These are the questions we ask ourselves, and so these are some of the thoughts that we had. And of course, one unique thing that I observed, of course, because I just sat down, on the sideline observing, because I want to observe and know what is going on, as reasonable people would do. You just observe some certain things and some circumstances, and you try to know what is going on, so that you'll be able to analyze issues and then come to a good logical conclusion and know how to judge rightly. When issues like this go on, you have to analyze, especially when you don't have the facts in your hands. We didn't have the facts on what was going on then. We didn't know that our leader had actually, told these people to allow Mazi Simon Ekpa to broadcast on Radio Biafra, and they blatantly refused, and they were now beginning to cook up stories and cook up designs to actually frustrate the whole process, and they were doing all the jamborees and doing all of that they were doing. And along the line, of course, Mazi Simon Ekpa started talking about, was not even talking about these things. He was trying to be very conservative, was trying to be very careful to preserve the family. And one unique thing we discovered was that Mazi Simon Ekpa was always trying to make sure that he preserves the unity of the body, as much as he was secretly reaching out to them to share their soul and come to the table to talk and make sure that they don't destroy what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has actually established. He was particularly trying to get them all to be part of this work of pushing forth and making sure that things go rightly. He was trying as much as possible not to wash dirty linens in the public. But if you observe, just go check it very well. July, August, September, October, November. These people were, the more he tries to call for peace, the more he tries to call that the people relax and make sure that they don't get themselves messing this whole thing up. You discover that the more they were coming down on him, and it was as if there's something else in this matter. And of course, at this point in time, that is when you'll begin to understand truly who actually wants the progress of this thing. Now, you see, at that point when they were doing all of this, they were already clouded by the fact that they have sold our leader, and then they needed to actually destroy Mazi Simon Ekpa in the eyes of Biafrans so that they could carry on with their dictates and their devious actions. They actually wanted to bring down everything that represents a site of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, or a remembrance of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They did everything. They were doing everything to make sure that they actually distort and destroy the legacy of our leader. Of course, remember, they also came up with the issue of canceling the Heroes Day, Heroes Celebration Day. They came up with talking about Independence Day, which they will have no capability to establish, and all of that, ignorantly and stupidly putting up some stuff that make no sense. How can you say Independence Day when you actually have not been able to get your independence? You see, so you come to understand that these people are actually working outside the dictates of right conscience and good judgment. That tells you that when people fall out of the way, and when people are ridiculous, when people are ludicrous, when people are devious, when people are evil, they tend to do things that are stupid. Their actions tend to reveal their stupidity, and everything they do at that point in time or from then begins to prove that they are actually very stupid. And so we can see the much stupidity in all of these acts. And then suddenly Simon Ekpa now decided to come all out and speak and make Biafrans know what is happening before things go bad. And thank God he came out strongly and spoke, and he has been speaking. And then we have been able to see, in clear terms, the issues and the things that have been going on. Now we are here, and of course, go over a year now, 1 year plus, that our leader was kidnapped. We can see, we can tell, we understand what is going on, we understand who is on the right track, we understand who is actually being devious, and we understand those who are being evil, and we can understand everything that's going on. Now we can judge rightly, we can judge prudently and professionally too. And of course, the cost of Biafra restoration has advanced, has gone up, and keep increasing. And of course, we are close to our liberation as much as we ever desire, and of course, more than ever before. And now, so the essence of this, this evening, this teaching this evening is for us to look critically at the IQ level, and it's also to give people tests so that they can test their level of intelligence and see how stupid they have been. And one thing about life is, as I said, that the ability to reason is critical of human existence. Animals deal on instincts. What are instincts? Instincts is just that prompting, that that intuitive prompting, that that natural way of operation that you don't even need to reason out. It comes on you because it is natural within your DNA. It is natural with you. You just carry out the actions, just like a bird. A bird has this natural instinct to fly. It doesn't consider the heights. It just flies, and it doesn't think of falling. It flies. It doesn't think, if he doesn't reason it out, am I going to fall in this flight? No, it has this instinct to fly. You see, you see, you see a fowl, let's say a hen, and a natural instinct, to just go and when it lays its eggs, it just covers its eggs and brood over them. The natural instinct of a monkey to jump up and hop around the trees, move from one tree to the other, and all of that, doing those things they do. Natural instinct of, a lion to roar and also to hunt prey. Natural instincts are eminent in animals. Animals have these natural instincts. They don't need to be told. They just carry out these actions because they are instinctive. They are naturally instinctive. That is what they have been designed. They are wired to do. God has already put that instinct in them. So they can't reason. They don't have the capacity to reason. They just move by that instinct of what they are created with, an ability to move in that direction and in that light. And so that now proves that for us to have the ability to reason, we have been created differently from these animals. We are actually separate beings that are designed to actually carry out further, and which means that we should actually get different results from what animals could get. Animals could only live by the instincts, and of course, and all of that. They do that until they die. But humans now have more role to play in the universe, and have more results to get, and purposes to pursue and achieve and result. And that is why we now are fitted with the faculty of reasoning. And basically, we look at reasoning um, based on emotion, and also based on the intellect. And these are the two sides we're going to be looking at it today, so that we'll be able to in the situation in this context of these one Nigerianists, and these election mongers, and these saboteurs. Now, if you look at critically, you discover, as I said initially, that every action that the saboteurs carried out all this while had actually been a natural instinct that they cannot run away from, based on the fact that they are guilty of hate, jealousy, and other things. So they naturally exhibit features that would prove that they are actually being very, very low in their actions and behaviors. That's why you see them behave and say some things, and you wonder if these people are reasoning at all. And imagine them coming out to say Mazi is threatening the wife of our leader, and said he's going to kill her if she comes for an interview. You can imagine that a broadcast that is as open and as public as what was done on Thursday by Mazi Samanekba. These people can also still come out, or on Wednesday or Thursday also, and still come out. They still come out to actually twist it so foolishly. So you discover that in the realm of low intellectual capacity, from actually twisted, that it will reveal the stupidity of the person who is twisted it. That is when you know that that is when you begin to understand intellectual capacity is actually eroded or debased by emotional expression, especially when you're in the wrong path of behavior, or the wrong path of action, or the wrong path of being human. So you discover that anytime you find yourself doing something wrong, and you want to defend that wrong, and you want to capitalize on that wrong to actually have a reason to do the wrong, you discover that your emotional disposition overrides your senses. And that is what has beclouded the minds of these one Nigerianists, these saboteurs, and all of that. Now, look at it critically. Common sense tells us that when you let me use instances, and to give them this test so that they can think and reason. For somebody who gets married, or got married to a woman or a man, you have this relationship, and you are together in the same roof, and you are carrying out your marriage. You're going together, doing what you have to do, as husband and wife, and you want to achieve things together. The purpose of marriage always is to see that you achieve things together, you do things together, and you are able to get results, and also get to achieve a result together. And what actually happens is that because understanding and mutual, a mutual connection, you tend to do things rightly and also do things, the way that will benefit the two of you in a normal situation. That's when you're married to a woman, all you want is that you want to see that she succeeds and you also succeed. So the intention here is that mutual respect, mutual, everything becomes mutual because it is necessary for mutual success and mutual benefit. If the love is not mutual, if the intentions are not mutual, if the purpose is not mutual, if the focus is not mutual, if the opportunities are not mutual, if you don't have a mutual agreement and mutual consensus on mutual decisions, taking mutual decisions, you discover that the end product will not be mutual. It will also be disastrous. So which means that if you want to achieve anything in life, with somebody else as a partner, whether in business, whether in marriage, and all of that, the agreement that you have proves your mutual position, which means that the two of you are actually in this. That is what now makes you do things and get results. Because if you are not mutual in your decisions, you will not actually achieve anything together unless you want to be alone. And so the only way to get things done alone and to get things done effectively for yourself is to be alone and take your actions and decisions. So that even when you fail, you know that you took your actions and decisions on your own. And if you get it right, you know that you took your actions and decisions on your own. But when you want to do something with any other person, the first thing that happens is that you go into an agreement. Agreement is the fundamental aspect of mutual behavior, mutual actions, and mutual work. Just like what the Bible says in Habakkuk 2:2, can two work together except they be agreed. You have to first agree, to work together. So it is very, very important, that we agree, which means if I have a wife in the house and we no more agree, we begin to have problems, we begin to have arguments, we begin to have quarrels and all of that. Now, when you have a relationship that gets out of hand, suddenly your partner picks up a weapon and stabs you to unconsciousness. You almost died and you were rushed to the hospital, rescued by neighbors or rescued by enemies, maybe by divine intervention. You were not able to die. The neighbor ran away and the partner jumped out and ran away thinking that you have died, and then of course wanted to escape and all of that. And suddenly you are taken to hospital and you recover. And then you now go, after the recovery, going through hospital, you now go back to the same house to live in the same, sleep on the same bed and live in the same roof, under the same roof with that same person who stabbed you and almost killed you. Now, what, as someone who is reasonable, let's look at it critically together. What will be your take on this matter? What will you say about this person who almost died in the hands of someone and yet after receiving treatment and goes back to the same apartment to live like nothing has happened? What would you say? Two things are going to happen. The other person, the one who stabbed him, will not be comfortable, or the one who stabbed her will not be comfortable, because he'll be feeling that this one has come for revenge. For not even saying anything alone, it's like he has come for revenge. The same way also, the one who has been stabbed, if that one didn't actually come for revenge, people would think that he is foolish or she is foolish. That is the same thing that happens under the realm of being under Nigeria. You have a group of people who are determined to kill you. They have been proving it. They have been kidnapping you. They have been subjugating you. They have been attacking you. They have been collecting your resources, using them to buy weapons, using them to buy arms and ammunition, and buying equipment and all of that they need to come and kill you. And they keep saying it from their politicians. You have heard it from their politicians. Say that your land belongs to them. They say that the East belongs to the North. They say that everything that is yours is theirs, actually given to them by Allah, their God. They have said it several times through their religious leaders, through their politicians, through their foot soldiers, and all of that. They have said so many things, proving that they are after you and your life. Just like that man or that woman under a roof with a man or a woman who they call husband or wife, and who actually stabbed them and they almost died. They went to hospital and they are treated and they recover, and they now go back to the same house where they wanted to be killed and relax. just like that instance. The same way also, these one Nigerianists are saying that they are comfortable with living with the people who have killed them, killed their brothers, killed their sisters, killed their religious partners, killed, maimed them, collected their money, stolen everything that belonged to them, plundered their resources, and done so grievous things that is a proof or an evidence of them being exterminated or them being going into extinction. That's an evidence that these people actually don't mean anything good for you. In fact, when they cite you, if they cite you, they are ready to take you off. The same way somebody who goes to live under the roof of a husband or a wife who nearly killed them the other time and came back to that house after treatment and still living in that place as if nothing had happened. The same way these Nigerianists, this one Nigerianists are reasoning. You will call that person as foolish as they are. So I want the one Nigerianist to think about it. Let them do this analysis. Which is safer, to cut the relationship, to go away from the relationship, to end that relationship and go and be on your own and be protected, rather than going back to the house where you wanted to be, where you were killed, going back to that marriage, you were almost killed, you were stabbed almost to death before you were rescued. Now you have come back to the house. Which is better for you? Even emotionally, which is better for you? Even reasonably, which is better for you? Even economically, which one is better for you? This is the place where you, as a woman or as a man, you have been the one feeding this your partner, and this partner almost killed you, stabbing you almost to death, and you recover and you go back to that house. Which is better for you economically? It is better for you to stay alone and feed yourself, isn't it? It's common sense. It is better for you to be on your own and secure your life. It's even better for you to take your children and run away and go to a place where you cannot be located and secure your life. Now, the IQ test for one Nigerianist is this. Don't you see that in these instances, I've given about marriage, you are actually making a grave mistake? I want you to reason, because I want them to reason, because it's not good for us to always say that these people are stupid, these people are foolish, and they're thinking they want to, they are one Nigerianist, they are very stupid. Let's make them know how stupid they are. We have to make them understand how stupid they are so that they will begin to reason and understand what it means to be stupid. Because if you don't analyze some certain things, you are not teaching anything at all. For you to make somebody who is stupid to change, or maybe to understand their stupidity, or maybe to see the level of their stupidity by them not accepting the fact after your analysis, is for you to teach them. That is what we're doing. So now I've made this analysis of a man and a wife living in a house, and one of the partners stabbed the other one almost to death, and that one was taken to hospital, rescued by neighbors and all of that, and was taken to hospital, and then they recovered. After recovering, by God's grace, by divine intervention, they recovered. They almost died. In fact, some parts of their body tissues were somehow mutilated to the point where they lost some organs of the body, but at least they survived. And they now decided to go back to that same house where they were stabbed, and they want to live in that house. Two things I said will happen. One, the person who stabbed that person will see the other person as a threat. Maybe they have come for revenge, and he will want to actually take that one down finally, so that they will be secure. Or the second thing is this: the person who is going back there is actually going back for revenge, and maybe being careful about how they're going to revenge and all of that, and to be able to see that they also get the other person down. Or thirdly, the person who is going back is actually foolish, hopeless, thinking that they cannot do without this person. We have seen it in several relationships where you see a woman say, "Where do I go? Because of my children, I stayed in the marriage. Because of this, because of this, because of that. If I think of what people are going to say, that I've been married for these years and then I am separated, they will laugh at me, being separated and all that." All of these instances will make you now think that you are being reasonable, and then you take actions, and then in the end they die. And you see them complain to their friends, and their friends will come, "I told this person not to go back," but they were saying that how would they stay? What will people say? And blah blah blah. The children, for the sake of the children, they had to go back. Now all of this proves that stupidity is in the corner, or stupidity is in all of the whole thing. Now the same way this one Nigerianists, let them reason along this line. The Fulanis are coming all out to kill you, and now you survive. You are still surviving. You have not been attacked, but you have family people who have been attacked. You have friends who have been attacked. You know people who have been attacked. You've heard of people who have been attacked from your kinsmen, and you know the agenda of these people. You have been shown the agenda. They have told you the agenda. They have told in fact, they opened the borders of the north so that the terrorists will be coming in, and they are arming them, giving them ammunition. How do you think they are being armed? How do you think they can carry. Do you think that I can carry a pistol now and walk through a border and they will not know I'm holding a pistol? I am asking you a simple question. You one Nigerianist and you who is clamoring for election. Do you think I can put a pistol in my pocket and walk through, cross a border without the Nigeria authorities or the military or the immigration or any of them there knowing that I'm carrying a pistol? Because I must be searched. Everybody who crosses or passes the border is searched. They search you to make sure that you are harmless, especially when you are coming from another country into another country or going out into another country. You will be searched because people want to be sure that you will not constitute a nuisance or you will not become a threat to the citizens of the country, of the nation. The same way also we have these criminals, these terrorists coming in from the Sahel, from Mauritania, from Libya, from all those countries, from Sudan and all of that, coming into Nigeria from the north, the military, the immigration, the custom, everyone were there. They crossed with ammunitions, they crossed with weapons, they crossed with their everything, and they came into the territory of Nigeria, and they are killing, maiming, destroying, and yet nothing is happening. They were not dictated. You can see the kind of weapons they carry. They carry sophisticated weapons, AK-47s. That tells you something. They came into the country without weapons. They came in, promised to be given weapons. The same weapons were supplied to them in the location where they were taken. And this location, the weapons were conveyed by vehicles that cannot be searched, which means that the only vehicles that can carry things as much as weapons, so much to the point of that cannot be searched, is the government vehicles. No local vehicle, no private vehicle can carry ammunition and arms of such magnitude and not be and pass through 1, 2, 3 checkpoints and not be dictated. No, it's not possible. So that tells you that the government is an accomplice. Now, why are you, as a Southerner, not seeing this as a danger sign? That you have a government that is an accomplice, that arms terrorists, and yet you still want to be under the influence of that government to jeopardize or to endanger your life, your purpose, your future, your expectations, your everything. I'm trying to make this teaching as simple as, so that it will not be like a bogus. I just want to use, because sometimes when you are teaching people who you expect to reason very well, and they're not reasoning very well, you have to be very simplistic. Just make it very simple. So that's why I'm using examples. That is why when Jesus came, all he did was using parables to teach, so that the people will understand by events of circumstances around. He will talk about somebody going to the farm and employing workers and paying them wages. He will talk about giving to people talents to go and trade. He will talk about a prodigal son who went, and then came back and after squandered. He used things that were natural, things that happened in those days, and then used them as a way of explaining to the people what they need to know. That is the same thing I'm doing right now. Now, the same people who want to kill you are always on the only thing they see that you are important for, that they see that you have value for, or that you are valuable for, is election. Every other thing, they don't see it as they don't see that you should benefit from it. They don't think that you should benefit from it. Every other thing, they don't think that you actually qualify for them. They don't see you as qualified for any other thing. But when it comes to election, they want you to come and be part of it. When it comes to getting the dividends of democracy, they don't think you qualify for it. When it comes to getting the things that should be yours as a citizen, they don't see you qualify for it. But when it comes to election, they want you to be part of it. They don't think that your security is important. They allow the Fulanis to keep combing your farms, being in your farms. They are supplying them arms arms to kill you in your communities and everything. They don't regard your security, but they want you to be part of election. As a reasonable person, why don't you think, why would they want me to be part of election, and yet they don't want to secure me? The Fulanis come, they kill, they take people from their farms. I mean, they take people from their farms, they clear them from their communities. The government sends these people who have been displaced from their communities, sends them into an IDP camp. The Fulanis take over those communities. The government does not do anything about it. The government does not say anything about it because the government does not care, and the government is supplying them arms. And then the government now says that you must be part of election. They want you to elect somebody who's going to lead you. Now, doesn't it tell you that something is wrong somewhere, and that something, somebody is trying to be smart on you? Because we want to test your IQ. I want you to test your IQ by what I'm saying, by expressing these things. As a one Nigerianist, as an election monger, test your IQ by this. First, you are ignoring the fact that your life is in danger because these people are coming for your neck. They want to kill you. Just like somebody who is in an abusive marriage. Your partner wants to kill you. You refuse to listen to the signs. You still remain in the marriage until you are killed. The same way also, the Fulanis are coming and they are killing you. They are collecting ransom, using those ransom to buy more weapons to come and kill you. And they have said it several times that your land belongs to them. And yet you are insisting that you want to be part of them. And you are insisting, and yet they also are insisting that they want to be part of you. They want you to be part of an election. One, what does that tell you? Simple. It tells you that one, your being part of the election is important to validating the continuity of your of you being endangered. It simply means that for you to be part of the election is significant to the continuing conquest of your land, of your of everything that has to do with you. That's what it says. So which means that if you want to actually make a difference and stop the killings and all of that, don't join in the election. And then you will now see how serious that election means to them. Because as I told you last time, I said it in the broadcast last week. I said that elections are used as takia. If you don't know, democracy to the Fulanis is takia, because it is an instrument to lie to you. Takia means something that is used as a lie that is used to validate an action to conquer you in Islam. It's a lie that is validated or used as a means of validating the conquest of your land or decimating you. As long as that lie can make sure that you are killed, or that lie can make sure that you are decimated, it is valid in Islam. So the same way also democracy is a tool that validates their conquest, because by the time you go out to join in the election, you are actually telling the world that you are still part of the country, you are still part of the process, and you also validate the person you are voting in. And let me tell you one Nigerianist now. Let's reason together. Let's reason together, one Nigerianists. Now, you have decided to validate your death by continuing a relationship that is to kill you, where your partner, which is the Fulani, says they are after you to kill you, to take your land. You have decided to foolishly validate your staying with them, voting them in, because everyone they actually bring out for the votes are their stooges. You should understand, basically, let's analyze it this way. You should understand that the caliphate already has the system in control. They're in control of the system. They're in control of the military. They're in control of the armed forces generally. They're in control of paramilitaries. They're in control of the economy. They're in control of the social life. They're in control of, control of the media. They're in control of every aspect of Nigeria. That means they have a grip to the economy. They have a grip to everything that makes up Nigeria. That means whoever sits in that position as the president will take directives from their control. It is the person. It's just like when you have a car. It doesn't matter who sits in the car. What matters is that there is a key and an ignition. Whoever sits in the car can start the car. Whoever has the key can start the car. Even if you are the owner of the car and you are not sitting on the driver's seat, somebody else sits there. that person can still start the car. But that car will only operate based on the capacity of the car. That means the car cannot run faster than it has been programmed to run. The engine cannot run faster than it has been programmed to run. The fuel cannot burn faster than it has been programmed to burn. The trafficating lights and everything, every feature of the car, everything that makes up that car is what you will control. So even if you enter a car that is not yours, even if the owner of the car gives you a key to go and drive the car, you will only drive the car based on the capacity of the car. You cannot drive the car differently from what you have on your mind. No. The same way those of you who are one Nigerianists, election mongers, when you say Peter Obi will come and he will be the president, you want him to be the president, you are only saying that you want to give Peter Obi a key through your election or through your votes. Give him a key to a car that is already programmed by the Fulani. The car, the brakes, everything that has to do with the car is a product of Fulani. The brake is Fulani. The brake is like the economy, which is the brake is the Fulani. The steering is the economy. Is the Fulanis. They are the steering. The brake is the security, which is the Fulanis. They are in charge of security. The trafficating light is all the the agencies of government. Trafficating light, the trafficators and all of that. They are all Fulanis, headed by Fulanis. What else? Is it the accelerator? The accelerator, of course, let's say the accelerator is the political parties and all of that. The accelerator you press on is the Fulanis. They are in control of everything. They are the design of the Nigeria car. The car called Nigeria is the Fulanis. That is what we call the caliphate. So you talk about the brakes, you talk about the steering, you talk about everything that is on that car, fitted in that car is Fulanis. So when you put your leg on the accelerator, you're actually putting your leg on the Fulanis. When you turn the steering, you're actually turning the Fulanis. Anything you do, you're turning the Fulanis. So the result of whatever you touch will be the result of what the Fulanis have programmed. You cannot accelerate beyond what the capacity of the car is. Is it possible? It's not possible. So whatever feature the Fulanis have applied in that acceleration, it is what will give you. So when Peter Obi goes there, when Peter Obi goes into that place as president, he will only need the military led by the Fulanis to do the bidding of the Fulanis. When he calls the chief of staff, for instance, or when he calls the head of the military, for meeting, they will only give him a program which they have designed that suits themselves and their Fulani plans and mission. And he would only look at the plan and he cannot change it. He cannot tell them not to override it. They will kick him out of the office. Who is he? They're in charge of them. They are having the weapons and the guns. They will put the gun on his head and shoot him off. You can't do anything about it. He will only approve what they are saying. That was why Jonathan could not do anything. Because whatever they say, as long as it is the Fulani that is in control, it is not who is president, it is who is in control. That is important. When you have a vehicle, it is the vehicle, the makeup of the vehicle that controls the vehicle. It is not actually the person who sits on it, because the person who sits on it and drives will only drive at the capacity of that vehicle. So no matter who he turns to and where he drives to, he's only using the capacity of that vehicle to do what he wants to do. So there's no way that anybody, whether from the south, whether from anywhere, would come into that seat of governance and turn Nigeria's steering, throttle, the brakes, the gear, and everything without the Fulanis being the ones controlling it. So if they have taken control of everything, and they that are Fulanis have their militias and their terrorists, they are not able to, the terrorists are not even listening to them. Let's just assume that the government does not have a hand in the killings. Let's just assume that the Sultan of Sokoto doesn't have a hand in it. Let's just assume that the Fulanis, the ones in politics, are not part of the killings, are not supporting the killings. Let's just assume. How come these foot soldiers are not listening to their leaders who are saying stop? Let's just say they are not part of it and they are telling them to stop. How come they are not listening to their people those who are their people and telling them to stop. If they cannot listen to their people who tell them to stop, how would they listen to somebody who they call an infidel to stop? I don't know whether one Nigerianists and election mongers are thinking. Please, I want you to send this video to them. Let them think and reason. If the Fulanis, the ones carrying AK-47 that have come into our farms, that have come into every part of our land, killing, cutting the necks of our people, killing the people, are not listening to their so-called leaders. Let's just assume that those so-called leaders, the politicians, their religious leaders, are not part of the killing. Let's just assume they're not part of the killing. If they are not listening to them to drop their arms, if they are not listening to them to stop the killing, how will they listen to somebody who is not even part of their religion, who is not even part of their tribe, who is from a different tribe that they always say are infidels, and that they say they want to conquer to take their land? How would you think that Peter Obi or Tinubu or anybody in the south would go to that place and these foot soldiers will stop? And who is Peter Obi going to order to start killing these Fulanis in this? When even the ones there that are not even the Buhari, the person ruling in the face of Buhari, cannot order them to kill. He cannot do that. He has several times they cannot. They have even refused to tag them terrorists. So if they are not listening to them, how would they listen to these other people? How? Is it the chief of staff, or the chief of naval staff, or the chief of army staff, or the chief of air staff, or all of that? That's Peter Obi will now tell, go and bomb them. When the so-called person who is a Fulani, the face that they use, as a Buhari, the person they're using as Buhari, cannot even give order, or even the Sultan cannot even give order. They refuse to give order. And then you will come as a Sultan and sit in that position and you want to give order. You should know that Peter Obi is playing a game. It's as simple as that. That is why I want you to use your IQ. That is why I'm giving you these simple examples. So that as a one Nigerianist, as an election monger, as one who is, oh, we want election. Please, let's go election. We will vote Peter Obi. Peter Obi change the system. Let's reason it this way. One, you refuse to get their to follow the signal of your life being in danger. Just like when you are in an abusive marriage and you were almost killed by your partner, and then you survived it and you still remain in that marriage. Definitely, you know that you're calling for trouble. One person must surely die in that relationship. That's the truth. Now you ignore those signs, you ignore those stuff. You decided to say you want to go and you get your uncle to come and stay with you, so that in that marriage, the marriage will work. That's how it is. So we validate Nigeria. We say we want election. We want our uncle. Let's just put that way. That uncle in that your marriage is Peter Obi now. You said, if my uncle comes to stay in the house with us, this marriage I'll be safeguarded. I'll be protected. My partner will not be able to kill me. Just like they tried to kill me initially, they will not be able to kill me again. So let me get my uncle to be part of the marriage. You know what will happen? Of course, your uncle will not be following you everywhere. That your uncle may even end up raping your daughter, or even raping your wife, if it's a woman. Or if it's a man, if it's your auntie or sister, might even end up raping your mother, or raping your auntie, or raping your sister. Oh, are you not thinking that way? Of course. So that means that because that person is already violent. That person is pissed with you. The person doesn't, for the fact that the person actually wanted to kill you in the first instance, and you survived it, has made that person feel that you are a threat. One, because you're coming back in their house, they believe that you don't trust them. You might even poison them. You might do anything for their death and all of that, meaning that there's no trust. That means that person will be looking for a way to get rid of you very quickly again. So when you bring a third party into that family, with that wickedness and that hatred, they will deal with that person and end up either ending the life of you and that person, or ending your life and taking off. So let's the IQ. I'm putting this test to this because all I'm saying right now is for one Nigerianists and election mongers to reason. and to also test their mental faculty to see whether they are thinking right at all. You're in an abusive marriage, you decide to bring your auntie or your uncle. Maybe your partner who tried to kill you initially will rape or even harm your uncle or your auntie. The same way also, we have a control system, which is the Fulani Caliphate, in charge of the economy of Nigeria, in charge of everything that has to do with Nigeria, supported and backed by the British. And then you said you want to bring somebody like Peter Obi to come and give orders to the Fulani chief of naval staff, chief of air staff, chief of chief of army staff, or to the NSCDC, or to other agencies, the immigration, the customs that who have been controlled by the Fulani. Peter Obi will now come there and begin to tell them what to do. Because he has two heads, right? He will just go and tell them you must do this and do that. You're not thinking. Put on your thinking cap. The best thing that can happen to you is to manage your own life when you find yourself threatened by another life that is with you. When you discover that you are in danger, instinctively, naturally, the first thing you do is that you run and defend. If you can defend, if it's too close that you have to defend, you defend yourself and avoid and run away. Instinctively, even animals do that. But as a human being who reasons, yours is even beyond instinct. You have to do more to secure yourself. But now you see that foolish people and one Nigerianists cannot even utilize instinct. Neither can they reason. So you see how dangerous the situation is. Because from the instances I've given right now, you'll discover that every action of anyone who is a one Nigerianist negates the principles of instinct and the principles of right reasoning. They are contrary to animalistic life or human life. That means when it comes to the level of animals, they don't have a place. When it comes to the level of human beings, they don't have a place. So what do we call these one Nigerianists? Because as an animal, when something threatens your security, you run away. Even ants, check an ant. Go now, touch an ant that is just somewhere eating. Just make a noise around it. The ant will start running, looking for the hiding place to run to go and hide. Instinctively, you don't need to do it. Just goes to hide first. It will leave the food and go to hide. And then maybe after a long time, it can come out again to get the food if it's still there. An ant naturally does that. Insect. Animals threaten a cat, threaten a goat, threaten any animal that is a domestic animal or any other animal. The first thing is that they will want to hide. When they discover that they are in danger, by instinct, the first thing they'll do is they want to avoid their danger. They want to avoid danger. They want to save themselves first. Those ones who can attack will attack. Those ones who are ferocious, who can attack, who knows they can control the situation, will go for the situation and attack. Those ones who cannot attack, who knows that the situation is beyond them, will go and hide. It's as simple as that with animals. And then when it comes to humans, who are higher than animals, we now have an additional value, which is the ability to reason. So now, in that context of reasoning, aside having the instinct to run away, you also have to construct a design that will make sure that this situation does not come to you again. It permanently ends. That is why reasoning becomes very important. Because by the instinct of running away, the ability to reason helps you now design a template that will make you not get into that trouble again. That's why they say once bitten, twice shy. The same way we're in the Nigeria situation. The Fulanis have done so much and done so much and done so much that by now what you do is first of all run away. Please, so let's have a referendum and save ourselves. Let's get off from this relationship first. And then when we go there now, we now plan our land very well to make sure that these killers will not come into our land. To make sure that these killers will not be part of us again, to be able to kill our people, to be able to kill our children or kill our people in the farms and all of that. So with the use of the instinct and the use of the reasoning, we know that we are beyond just being just human beings, but we are intelligent. That is what's called intelligence quotient. But the people who are one Nigerianists now don't even fit in the realm of insects, because insects are smarter. They don't fit in the realm of animals, because animals are smarter. Animals will run. It's in the realm of humans, because humans will not only run away, they will also try to put in strategies and templates that help safeguard them so that they don't get involved or get into when your house have been robbed. You now the next time you want to get extra locks or security measures to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That is what makes you human. So where do these one Nigerianists belong? That tells you that they are just not human. They are just not reasonable. They are just beyond, they are lower than animals, lower than insects, and then they pose a great danger to those of us who actually have a purpose in life. It is not about it's not about education, academic or whatever. You can go to school and all of that. You don't even have the sense. You don't even have the intelligence. So some of them whom you see having degrees and all of that, of course, we know that most of them, what actually drives them is the greed. So it still brings them even lower than insects. Because even an insect, when they get into trouble, they will leave that food and run away. Am I making sense? An insect will leave that food and run away. But these greedy ones from the south, that these Fulanis are cutting their necks, cutting the necks of their brothers, their sisters, their family members, and all of that. They are cutting their necks. Yet they still hold on to that greed, that feed, that thing they are going to get, that money, that thing that they are using to attract them. They hold it on. They refuse to run. They don't want to hide their heads. They don't want to get out from that danger. They are holding on to that greed. That money they have promised them, that wealth that they have promised them, that thing they have promised to give to them. They are holding on to it. But an ant will see danger and leave the food and run away. But these greedy people, these greedy politicians, these people who are supporting these politicians, because of the little tips they get, recharge card, money for water, money for bread, money for this, money, pocket money, they refuse to run away. They hold on to the greed until their necks will be cut off. That is what it is. That is what it is. They hold on to it. That tells you that they are even lower than animals. They are even lower than insects. Every one Nigerianist is lower than an insect. I'm going to make more explanation on this broadcast because I don't want to make this one too long. We have around almost 58 minutes now. I don't want to make it beyond 1 hour. So I'm going to end it here. I'm going to give more analysis in the next broadcast tomorrow on how low these people are. This one Nigerianists, lower than animals and insects. It's so painful. It's so painful. Please share this video. Let them hear. Send it far and wide on all your social media platforms. Let them hear this gospel so that they will begin to think and reason, because they are seriously constituting a nuisance and causing blacks to be looked down upon as if we don't have worth or value. They are a problem to you and I who reason very well. We have to help them to cure this madness. And the gospel we preach will help them to cure this madness. And it is you and I that will do the job. As I speak right now, as I'm speaking, you also forward it to other people. Also, click and like this channel, subscribe to this channel so that you can get more updates. Tomorrow, by this time again, I'll be coming up again to talk more in another 1 hour, to talk more on how low they are and how less than an animal they are. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Kelechi Ambrose. Please subscribe to this channel and share this video on all your social media platforms. Let the story and the news go far and wide for other people to learn.